Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. Today I'll be discussing the third installment of the Borderlands series, Borderlands 3. If you followed me so far on this journey, it's greatly appreciated, and if not, then I'm here to provide casual discussion on the game and give my reaction on what I think is one of the greatest games that I've played recently. If you've never played any of the Borderlands series, or specifically Borderlands 3, and you're looking into it to find out what it's about, then let me please catch you up on the story. I think I do need to start by saying that the story is a continuation. All three Borderlands games are linear. They all sort of build upon themselves. In some ways it's sort of relevant, but if you just happen to be looking for a really fun game, then you could definitely buy this one and have a lot of fun with it. Anyway, Borderlands 3 starts a few years after Borderlands 2 ends. Like 2, the playable characters from the predecessor have become NPCs. All of the new characters are new Vault Hunters taking up the hero role. The main story takes place from a spaceship called Sanctuary, which is a callback to all the previous cities of operations. The characters are looking for a map that shows the location of numerous vaults across different planets. The maps were taken by a group of raiders called the Children of the Vault, who are led by two siblings, Troy and Tyreen. A short series of events ultimately leads the main characters to a few of the vaults, where they find out the twins are absorbing the powers from the Vault Guardians. It's additionally discovered that they actually intend to absorb all of the power from all of the Vault Guardians and rule the universe. Plans are set in motion to try and stop them, which culminates in the final showdown. Borderlands 3, like its predecessor, built upon an already great system to deliver a super good product. During my research into the game, however, I came across quite a few reviews, and I would have to say that all of them were pretty mixed. There were a lot of things that people loved about the game, such as the gameplay, the gun systems, but they hated other aspects, such as the storyline and the antagonists. My take on either of these subjects are similar in some regard, but I do have a few of my own grievances too. First, I want to talk about the positives. The first thing I want to say is that I was already excited for this game coming into it. The first two games were already really fun and really great, and I was already looking forward to this one quite a lot. I think that two of the most obvious and positive changes to the gameplay were climbing and sliding features. The climbing made sense, and this was a problem that I had mentioned in my Borderlands 2 review. I found that you couldn't climb anything, there were a lot of invisible walls, and it really limited what I was doing. The sliding, though, was a perfect addition. I slid everywhere I went in this game. Wherever I was, whatever I was doing, every new screen, sliding up, sliding down, sliding off, sliding into, it's what I did. Sliding to kill people, it was a ton of fun. I loved it. I'd also like to highlight one of my favorite additions to the game, and that was the improved Ragdoll physics. There's something about Ragdoll physics that I find absolutely hilarious, and I can never have more fun than when I'm blowing things up or doing something where I wind up being able to cause a body to just go flipping through the air. It's absolutely hilarious to me, and it has been for quite some time. I think I want to make callbacks to Mass Effect 2 is my earliest game where I think I remember this. Anyway, it's something I love, and I'll always find it hilarious. There was a small detail that was added that I absolutely loved as well. Somewhere on Sanctuary, there was a pet that I actually found, and you could actually physically pet it. I sat there petting it for some time. It gave me a bunch of ammo, and I think that that alone makes this game worth playing, just because I think more games need animals that you can pet in them. Lastly, and one of the best things to mention, and I think this goes for all of the Borderlands games, is that the scenery is breathtaking. Every planet I went to, everything I did, I could always stop and take a minute to just look around and be enamored with the views. I was awestruck by some of them. They were absolutely gorgeous, and they did a wonderful job building these worlds. The biggest issue I had with this game was probably burnout. I'm not sure if it's because I played through all three games in a row, but I found myself sprinting to the finish. I didn't do all the side quests. I started skipping a lot. I just wanted to get it over with. I feel like part of it had to do with, in Borderlands 3 specifically, it felt like all I was doing was looting. Everywhere I went, every time I got engaged in battles, everything, there were just boxes everywhere. I felt like I spent more time looting than I did anything else, and the action is what made this game fun. It I couldn't deal with it anymore. I had to move on. I had to get over it. I also had a lot of issues with some of the character changes, and these are like design changes. The updated graphics slightly changed the design of some of the characters, and I couldn't get over it. They looked just different enough from 1 and 2 that it felt wrong. I also They also decided to use real life models for the Siren Echo device communication, and that was a terrible choice. Every time they popped in, it really took me out of the element. It looked really weird that they had these real life action going on inside of this cartoonish game. I hated the choice. It didn't fit. It was weird, and I don't want to think about it anymore. The other thing I think pretty much everyone agreed on is that the maps sucked. They were huge and they were really slow to navigate. You couldn't move your cursor along, you couldn't zoom out very fast. It was hard to see where you were going. There were layers of the maps, and sometimes if you weren't careful about looking at what layer you were on, you could wind up getting really lost and have to take a lot of time to backtrack and go around things. Also, some of the layers made things meaningless because there would be cutscenes or in between objectives, and there was no point in looking at the map because you were kind of forced down a certain path anyway. Also, Ava really sucked and it felt like she was shoved into the story. I think the biggest difference between myself and everyone else is that people really seem to hate the twins, just as characters. They always compared them to Jack, which, of course, Jack was a great bad guy, but I didn't think that the twins were really that bad. There were more reasons for people hating them, but I don't really think they all added up. I really loved it. Not like loved, but, I hated them. I hated them too, but I hated them differently. I wanted to end them. I felt that they were really good at sparking anger and enraging me. I thought that all of the disrespect that they provided really worked well. I thought their dialogue was pretty on point, and it was really well done. I thought it came off well in that regard. They were over the top, they were really confident, they were really conceited, and it drove me to want to really stop them. Once again, I really didn't make any moves on the DLC. I wound up getting the Ultimate Edition on a Steam Super Sale, so I had everything, but I only have a few hours to play at night, so I didn't want to spend all my time going through all of them. I did wind up going through the Psycho Krieg and the Fantastic Fustercluck before I realized it was DLC. I thought it was just a side mission during the beginning, and it wound up setting me up with a bunch of good levels and super sweet guns, so I don't have any real complaints. It was really fun, and it's my understanding that it was one of the better DLCs, so there is that. I don't want to spoil anything. There was a spoiler in there, but it didn't involve any characters I had a lot of huge investment in, so be careful with the DLCs. I don't know if any of the other ones are like that, but yeah. I really don't think I have anything else to add that hasn't already been said. This is a great game. I'm probably in the minority of people that thinks that this one was better than Borderlands 2. No matter what, it's definitely a great game if you haven't played it yet, and if they make a Borderlands 4, I would definitely be interested in that one. I did look around, there was some talk about it, but I don't think there's been anything official put forward, so yeah, I'll play that when it comes around, and other than that, that's it for me, and take care.